Hey everyone, this is Joshua. I want to welcome you to a much different broadcast, but we have a lot of much different broadcasts, it seems lately. So grateful for the variety of guests from all walks of life that come on, and today will be no different. I actually have no idea who today's guest is. I don't believe we've ever spoken. Um, and frankly, the communication between myself and the people involved in making this interview happen is not the greatest thing in the world, but it's also understandable considering they are locked up in a shadow prison. We've done several broadcasts. You can go to the civil justice category under video at joshuatberglan.com and see some of the other past interviews we've done with some of the people that have been locked away. Um, I don't know if unjustly is the right word or not, but I believe what's happening to these men is illegal. It's wrong. It's definitely not right. And it's kind of screwed up. And we've done several different broadcasts, whether it was the old network, the Livmana network, which was through our foundation that we've recently, or actually in the process of shutting down. And the reason why we're shutting down our nonprofit is simply people are not passionate, I guess, or passionate enough to want to give to a nonprofit media organization. Um, my wife and I have done everything possible to serve in a big way and to give away all of our services. We gave away our network while we had it, and then had to let that go. And while it sucks to have to make the choice to close down something that I believe in, there's also a smarter way sometimes to do things. I believe that God gives us visions, and how the steps to get there are not always not always consistent. uh and sometimes we have to use trial and error, try different things. The vision that we have remains. It's actually the vision stronger than ever of what we want to do with media. We've just changed our strategy. And again, I mean, there's so many causes to give to, and we did not do a good job of fundraising. And that's what it takes to be a nonprofit, because we were giving away all of our services. We just trusted that people would donate, and few did, or not enough to keep everything going. So we've shifted our focus and shifted the way that we're going about serving. And that's why, if you've listened to my other broadcast at joshuatberglan.com, um, or any of the places that we distribute to, um, you've heard me talk about buy one, give one. And all of the services at joshuatberglan.com under the pricing tab are buy one, give one. That means anything you buy, including memberships to the video broadcast, you have the opportunity to give one away. And at the time of purchase, you just make it known who you want it to go to. And we make sure that happens. So again, the mission continues, but it requires finances to be able to do what God's put on our heart to do with media, and our role in providing media resources, providing distribution, providing media education, media literacy, strategy. And with media, that comes into merchandise. So if you're wanting to create a product for distribution, if you want to create a TV show, a podcast, a movie, a book, an audio book, if you want to create a skincare line, believe it or not, the strategy to do any of that is virtually the same. Um, Distributing a product and distributing a movie are not much different. I know that sounds wild, but once you figure that out, you also figure out, oh my gosh, well, if I can do that, then I can do this. And if I can do that, then I can do that. And then I can do that. And I can do that. And then all of a sudden you realize you have all of the knowledge that you need to be your own media organization. Now, of course, there's steps and there's mistakes that can be made and all of that. But the truth is that anyone can do it. If I can do it, I don't have an education. I barely have 5 brain cells, and I've managed to run an independent media organization. I did it with no money for a long time, and but I still was able to do what it was that I was called to do. And while we were not able to give in the way that we wanted to give, and that was the whole purpose, or one of the main purposes of our foundation. Now I just get to do it in a much different way. And for all the students that we had and, the media trainings that people were a part of, super grateful for them and super grateful to still have relationships with a lot of them. And we're getting to help in a different way now. And that's great. And to be honest with you, I'm not trying to bash anyone that has their own streaming TV network or their own podcast network, but the truth is, you don't even need that. The future is self hosting, the future is independent media. And that's exciting, if you ask me. Any moment, the phone will be ringing, and our guest, who I don't know, and maybe Jeremiah, but I don't know if I know Jeremiah. Anyway, I am excited to have you here, and I'm going to take a quick pause. And for when the phone starts ringing, we'll come back. See you in a second. And we're back.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from a client at the Moose Lake Secure Treatment.
Well, now I definitely don't know who's calling.
To accept this call, 0. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello, it's Jeremiah Johnson calling.
Hello, Jeremiah Johnson. How are you?
About the podcast schedule for Native Americans.
Yes, sir. We are on the air right now as we speak.
All righty, thank you very much. I would like to bring attention to LiveManaWorldwide.org that as Native Americans in the institution of Moose Lake, MSOP, that we are hindered to our cultural, racial, I want to think about how the shadow prison of Moose Lake is detriment to the Native American spirituality and culture.
I would,
And,
sir,
go ahead.
Jeremiah, I apologize to interrupt you. I just wanted to correct you really quick. We shut down our foundation. Actually, I just got done talking about that in the intro, and I'm going to give you all the time in the world. Our mission has continued, but we had to shut down the foundation because of lack of funding. Just to be clear with you, but we are still committed to helping you all and making sure that your voices are heard, especially the Native Americans who have had so much taken and robbed from them, and to try to interfere with your faith, and that to me in itself is worth amplifying to the world. So I'll let you continue. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that we are operating independently now because of lack of funding, but we are committed to still serving you all.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Sir.
And through this introduction, we have about 30 Native Americans here in this facility, and we're sponsored by Department of Human Services, MSO Seattle Prison. And one of the few of the things I would like to touch on is our limited Native American spiritual services. We have a talking circle on Wednesdays, and we have a pipe ceremony on Sundays. And good to be able to smart. I but they only allow us to do it on Sunday. We can only have a pipe ceremony on Sunday, which that's the hindrance of our cultural and spirituality. And through this, we're also limited in spiritual items such as medicine bags that we wear that are one of our spiritual items. They need to be sewn shut. And when they're sewn shut, they can also be searched at any time. And doing a search of our spiritual items or one not or has madness in their heart, it's not good for them to be touching our items.
Oh, wow.
And also, all of our spiritual items, not everything is considered a spiritual item. For example, non-Native American or not familiar with the culture and spirituality say that that rock is not a spiritual item. He just picked it up off the ground. But in the Native American culture, everything that inanimate is has a spirit to it. And so the institution would desecrate our beliefs by considering something like that not spiritual. And our services, our advisors, our spiritual advisors are limited to MSOP vetting process. No one with a criminal record can come in here and be a spiritual advisor for Native American services. And also, no Native American can be related to anybody in here to become a spiritual advisor within it. And the Native American community is so close knit that it's kind of hard to find a person not related to you and who is a spiritual advisor.
Wow.
So the next one is our limited tobacco use. Tobacco in the Native American culture and spirituality. Tobacco is central to our belief, and we're not able to use tobacco to pray with daily, such as pipe or just holding the tobacco in our hand to put all this to make offering. And in our pipe ceremonies that we do get, we only get a quarter ounce of tobacco per 5 people in our ceremony. We don't have enough tobacco to make tobacco ties or make any other spiritual offering.
Jeremiah, can you tell us why? Because not everyone knows why tobacco is so important to Native Americans. Do you mind sharing that? Because some people are like, yeah, you just want to buzz, you just want to smoke your cigarette. Like that would be some people's attitude. So can you speak to educate the audience on why this matters?
Yes, absolutely. Tobacco has been in the United States forever before Europeans showed up and started abusing the plant. And when we utilize tobacco, we hold this in our hand. The essence of our life, our prayers, through our touch, through our sweat, through our skin, is put into this tobacco while we pray. And when we set this tobacco down, these prayers are going into the spirit world. And when we, as Native Americans, when we talk about the spirit world, we're not talking about a God. We're not talking about HDs. We're not talking about a mother Mary. We're talking about every living thing in the world, including the blades of grass, the rocks, the air molecules, the oxygen molecules within the water, your pet, everything that has a spirit. When we utilize this tobacco and the essence of our life is put into this tobacco with our prayers, and we make this offering, all of these spirits are touched with this prayer. And so it's sacred to us once we utilize it. And when people say you just want to utilize nicotine, you just want to smoke, when we use the pipe and we smoke, we don't inhale. The only thing that we do when we're not putting the tobacco down as an offering and we're putting it in a pipe to smoke, we're pumping on the pipe, we're not inhaling this item. Because when we pump on the pipe, this smoke that comes through that we're creating is taking our prayers off into the spirit world.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's so cool. Now I understand why this is important to you. Wow.
Absolutely. That we're stripped of us during the boarding school stuff. Government. create the ideal Christian. They didn't know we had a belief. They had a system of prayer already in place. So still today, they're trying to utilize the ignorance of our culture and our spirituality to change the Native American of who he is, who they are. And I hope that shines some light on your question.
Yeah, that makes I have my issues with Christianity with how they've gone about their business, and I mean that literally. But it disturbs me how they've infringed in these other rules, and the people in charge of MSOP have infringed on your rights to spirituality and practicing your religion, your faith, your spirituality as you feel is, I mean, that's been with you longer than they've been alive. I mean, that's really troubling to me that they would mess with that, because the way that you described that has given me a whole other appreciation and understanding for the Native American belief system. And I know how I would feel if somebody tried to infringe with my beliefs. So my heart hurts for you, man. This is not good.
Yeah, thank you. And through this, the institutional staff, a majority, 99% are Caucasian and are not willing to understand our way of life. And being Native American, it's not only a spirituality, it's a culture, it's a race, it's a way of life of who we are. And we are born Native American. It's not something not you can choose different spirituality, but it doesn't stop you from being Native American.
Right.
So, through this, I suffer. It wreaks havoc on my identity. It makes me question: should I be Native American? Would my life be easier if I became a Christian and only pray on Sunday? Give up my race, give up my future? Should I assimilate like the American government wants me? No, which is to give up my life, the meaning of life, give up my heritage, give up my entire identity. This is what we deal with in shadow prison when you're forced to endure what we are going through as Native Americans here. Yes, there are numerous Native Americans here who have succumbed to the pressure of MSOP and given up their Native American identity. They have stopped attending what limited services we have. And through that, I think their life has become worse because they can't relate with the people they've grown up with. They can't relate with their mother, their father, their cousins. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing in their life. And it's unfortunate. So through this, we have to continue to endure. So with this knowledge here, I'm going to pass on the phone call to the next caller. Thank you for the Native American community, and they have some calls coming in.
Brother.
Thank you very much, John.
Brother, hey, you guys anytime. Oh man. Stupid GTL. Wow. I don't know who else is calling. I had his name. That kind of blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. That was not what I was expecting to hear. And I would be pissed. Like, look, my beliefs on spirituality have changed. Here's another call. Everything has changed for me with the way I believe, but I also have a respect for any belief system, even if I don't necessarily agree with it or understand it. But this happening to me is awful. It's awful.
Hello, this is a free call from a client at the Moose Lake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. To calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello.
Hello, who am I talking to? My name is Joshua. How you doing, Peter?
Fine. How about you, Josh?
I'm well. I'm well. Good to hear from you.
Thank you. JJ here, Jeremiah Johnson, referred me to you, and I understand you'd like to hear about some of the conditions we live in here.
I do, and also I want you to pass a message to Jeremiah that my wife works with the tribe, and if there's any messages that we can get to them to help you guys. Oh, Jeremiah. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that my wife works with the tribe, and if there's any, like, I don't know what we can do as far as getting a message to them or helping get them involved or anything like that, but we are full supporters of the tribe here, and I know there's multiple tribes, but we genuinely care about your right to practice your faith, and so we won't be silent, and you can call me anytime. Anything we can do, we'll do. All right. Go for it, Peter. Share the heart. Share your heart. The floor is yours.
I've been here for 15 years. Before I came here, well, I'm Mandan Indian from North Dakota, and I got Sioux relation, and I follow the Sioux tradition. And I live here in Minnesota, and I caught a case here in Minnesota and got locked up. And long story short, I ended up here. Well, before I came here, I was in prison, and I was a pipe carrier in prison, and I'm fluent in my language, and I teach the language, the culture, the songs, the ceremonies, things like that. And after being a pipe carrier in prison for about 10 years, I came here. I've been a pipe carrier here for the last 15 years. And I'm the principal pipe carrier in here. I'm kind of the oldest. I'm 6 years old. So I teach the language class here. I conduct the ceremonies. I conduct way too many memorials and wakes, so I will say that. We got quite a little group here, about 30, 40 natives. Some of them are even white or Mexican. And I consider them, everyone's inclusive in our group. I always believe in non-discrimination. But for the most part, being a Lakota pipe carrier, we really adhere to the white buffalo calf pipe when we brought us. Was not only a pipe, but the promise of a new life, brought 7 directions, all the go along with that. Before she brought the 7 directions, we applied the 4 directions, and since she came, which was about 400 years ago, we applied 7 directions. I wrote a book. It's called The 28 Days of the Moon and Sacred Coup. The medicine was 700-page book.
Wow.
And some of the schools out there in Dakotas are considering it in the curriculum, but I haven't heard some of them. I know about 1,000 native songs.
You have 1 minute remaining.
I'm going to run out of time here. Is it okay if I call you back?
Yes, sir. Of course.
Okay. And, I'm going to give you a call right back. Hang on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for using GTL.
This is the way it goes. This is the way we communicate. They usually have 15 minutes. Sometimes it's 5. I think 5 is the least phone call I've had, maybe even 2 minutes. But how would you feel if you weren't allowed to practice your spirituality? Even if you were a Satanist, which is really the worship of self. But like, if you couldn't practice, I mean, think about it. The Church of Satan is fighting for the right to perform abortions, child sacrifice. It's probably a goof, probably a joke just to piss people off, but nonetheless, people are fighting for the right. We should all have the right to practice our faith or not. It seems like it's a God-given right. Should be.
Hello, this is a free call from a client at the Moose Lake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
All right, Josh, just to continue, I only got another 5 minutes, so are you there?
Yes, sir, I am. Floor is yours.
Give one, I can give one. Like I said, one live stream. The church goes on Sunday. We would like to have a pipe ceremony every week, every morning, wake up, and have a little bit more liberal policy instead of so much with regard to our ceremonies, things like that. But I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, and always try to improve. I do want to say one thing that my family's doing really well. The son I raised, they go ahead. He's grown up to be the most decent man I've ever known, and he has 6 children. I love him to death, and I'm trying every day in my heart to get out of here so I can breathe, reunite with my family. And prayer is one of my motivators. My belief of what drives me. They will until I die. But I appreciate all you're doing here, trying to help us out here. We could use all the help we can get. Is this going online? Is that how this works?
Yeah, it'll be through video, audio. The video element will be different than what I normally do, just because you're not on screen with me. But it'll be distributed. The transcript will be distributed. The audio will be distributed, and so will the video.
Well, again, all you're doing, and we're going to work on this. And I'll always try to make things better. If we get discharged or do get released, we want to leave things better than we found them. So, along with like I said, all the teachings, the sacred pipe, so Kashula will come Kishimana do. That is a great comfort to have those spirits helping us, being with us and guiding.
Peter, I've you guys are always in my prayers, but the more of you I get to meet, even virtually, the more love I have for you all, and the more respect I have for your situation, and that you're continuing to fight. Your hope is infectious, and if anything, I want you to know that you speaking to me today has relit my fire to want to help you all, and you and the other gentleman, Jeremiah, as well. I'm grateful for both of you. I really am, and I'll be praying for both of you, all of you. God bless you, man. Okay. Bye-bye. I like Peter. I like Jeremiah too. I don't know if I've ever talked to Jeremiah. Sometimes the only thing people have is their faith. Faith, hope. Faith leads to hope. If you have a little bit of faith, you can have a little bit of hope, and having a little bit of hope is better than no hope. because a little bit of hope will give you an excuse to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep believing. I've talked to some of the men there that don't have hope and have given up, and they would kill themselves if they could. Oh, that one sucks. I don't know who this is, but here we go. Round 3.
Hello, this is a free call from a client at the Moose Lake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using TCL.
Hello?
Told the talk about my experiences at MSOP.
Yeah, what's your name?
Plum.
Jacob Plum? Very nice to meet you. You are on the air.
So, getting here at MSOP, I was 21 years old. I got committed June, right before my birthday. My last offense, I was like 18 years old, and they considered me a juvenile offender. I have one charged offense as an adult. I did come here with a diagnosis, and then I've gotten 6 different diagnoses since I've been here, and then they finally just took it off recently. I've been arguing with them for the last 7 years about how I feel about my diagnoses, and it seems like they don't listen. They use their own excuses and jump around the DSM-5 as if it doesn't exist. But when we bring up arguments out of the DSM-5 about how they're supposed to be following it, they just kind of dismiss it and come up with their own justifiers for why they give us the diagnosis that they give us. They seem to play around with our spiritual practices. They've taken away our tobacco a couple times for the Native American services. They didn't let us build a sweat lodge for 2 years, and once we finally built the sweat lodge, they aren't letting us go to it until they hire a volunteer, and they're not even trying to help or hire a volunteer. So those are some of the things that I've dealt with in the last 7 years, just off the top of my head. Now I'm going through the SRB camp process, and that's basically to get out of here. And the only arguments they have against me are because I don't go to group and because I'm immature due to my young age. And I guess in their mind, that's a reason to keep me locked up. Because I see this as a prison. I don't see this as a treatment center. And, my resentments are what kind of keeps me from trusting this place. And I don't believe that it's here to treat me. I believe they're here to keep me locked up to justify keeping the community safe. So that's pretty much all I got.
Hey, actually, I want to hear from your perspective, because I've heard all about their quote unquote treatment program. Why don't you tell everybody really quick with the time you have left, what submitting to treatment really means? Because it's not what people think.
Right. Yeah, submitting to treatment here is basically allowing them to conduct your life for you. It goes in all aspects of job, who you can talk to, and that's like phone calls. They can take away your phone calls whenever they want. They can switch off phone numbers. They can restrict you from having visits with certain people. One of my friends is going through a situation where he wants to have contact with one of his family members as a kid, and they're not letting him do it, even though his PO said he could. So it's things like that. They can control your job. They can take away your job whenever they want. They can tell you what classes you need to go to as far as education, even if you don't need it. They can subjugate you to different types of testing. They hook your penis up to a flipping board and test what you're attracted to. They show you pictures of child pornography and see if you're attracted to that. Somehow get away with that. Yeah. They have pictures of small children in underwear.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And wearing revealing clothing, wearing lipstick. They have lie detector tests they can give you at any point in time when they feel like it to see if you're lying to them or just because they want to. There's no rhyme or reason of what they do when it comes to treatment, quote
Oh my
unquote.
God.
Yeah.
That is wrong on every level.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you have anyone you want to say hi to?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my mom, Jennifer,
Mhm.
in Arizona. She's getting things done and doing her thing, so I'd like to give a shout out to her.
Love it, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you,
Is
man.
it
Have a good day.
you too? Is anyone else calling?
Bye.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, man.
See you, brother. Thank you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thank you for using GTL.
This is kind of fun. I mean, if it wasn't so sad, it's fun. It's like having call-in radio all of a sudden. I should have had some bits planned in between these breaks. God, I can't even imagine. I've heard just awful stories. But I mean, the simple fact that they're showing child porn to the prisoners to test them is so messed up in itself. Like it seems like some kind of horrible psyop. What do you call it when you're setting someone up for failure? When your entrapment is the word. It feels like entrapment. So screwed up. Golly. We have another person. Had I had no idea all the people calling today. This is fun.
To accept calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello, who am I speaking with?
Mike Jackson or Mike Blue?
Mike Blue. Nice to meet you,
Yeah.
sir.
How do you want to?
No, you're on right now. This is like it's like calling radio, man. You get to just share whatever's on your heart. The floor is yours, man.
What I'd like to say is that I've been studying it for a long time now. I've been committed now for 30 years, and what I'm just appalled by is the fact that the commissioners hired an army of psychologists who aren't trained and properly using the DSM. And since the DSM-5 came out in 2012, they're still not using it appropriately. They rebuilt the DSM-5 because of these civil commitment schemes that are going on in this country. And one of the things that they did with the DSM-5 is they said, look, you can't just say that people have these disorders. You have to prove it. And that's what they've been doing. They've been taking all these psychologists and family therapists, social workers to say, I'm using the DSM-5 and I think that you have a disorder and that's good enough and nobody could ever fail. Well, what's happened now is the game has changed, and now even the courts and everybody is still fighting us all the way. That our lawyers are fighting us, the people that they say are experts are fighting us, the state's fighting us, the judges are fighting us, and they're stopping us from bringing up the fact that they're all misusing the DSM-5. What I find funny and really interesting is that this facility and the state hospitals are basically were blueprinted from the boarding schools, and that's what they are. It's just a boarding school on steroids. It's just remade, and this is what they're doing. They use civil commitment the same way that they use boarding schools to sequester and shut people up. The same thing happened with in regards to the disorders. They're misdiagnosing and they're overdiagnosing people in here. And it's surprising to me how it doesn't get this. The tribes don't get involved. What's going on with these guys that have disorders and everything and never get hurt? that's what maybe probably only 4%.
Wow.
And that's what they're doing. They're taking criminals and locking them up and pretending they're mentally ill just so that they can lock them up.
Wow. You seem to have I've heard some of this before, but it seems like you're coming from a different place than some of the other stories that I've heard. How long have you been there again?
I've been here for 1993. I was committed in 1993. I was helping them. I did it. It was for political reasons. And the woman that said that I raped her was murdered over in Somerset, Wisconsin. Has 11 men locked up in facilities in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota for rape.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Oh my God.
So I guess they're giving me the 1 minute warning. But the thing is that I've been studying how they've been doing this whole thing. Everything starts from the fate disorder. If they can give people disorders, then it justifies locking them up and treating them any way they can. And that's why the commissioner has got them diagnosed. She hired all these social workers that aren't trained in diagnostic. Psychology is a skill. Hey, Berglan, I'm going to have to call you back because they gave you the 5 minute warning, okay?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for using GTM.
The way he explains it is better than anyone else has. I don't know why. It feels so different coming from him. I got accused of rape once. Thank God there was people there videotaping what happened. And I know that sounds perverted and twisted, but the facts are that if they didn't videotape what had happened, I mean, there's no telling what would have happened to me. Holy jeez.
Recall from client and most likely their treatment facility. To accept this free calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using PTL.
All right, brother, go ahead.
But it's off their minds up here. One of the things that they said about is that they didn't talk about the 1989 case that subsequently got me arrested and sent to prison back then. They wanted to talk about some woman that disappeared on the same day that I escaped. I escaped on Easter Sunday or disappeared on Easter Sunday. But what they didn't tell the public disappeared 35 or 40 years ago on Easter Sunday.
Wow.
So they made it sound like that was my case. That's the way. They didn't want to try to blackmail the state. She wanted more money, and when they refused to give her some money, then all of a sudden I read about her being killed in the newspaper by a guy over there in Somerset, Wisconsin, the first guy that she had convicted for rape.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
it's a mess. It's a horrible mess. This is for politics. This is for to destroy people's lives. They're using civil commitment for a purpose it's not supposed to be. And anybody with a germ of intelligence can tell you if somebody had a disorder. You got to remember what a disorder is. A disorder is something that takes away your volition. It takes away your ability to think. So it just goes to show, if somebody committed a crime and they couldn't stop themselves from doing it, they don't need mens rea. They can't be criminally convicted because they're not responsible. It's the disease that made them do it. It's the sickness that made them do it. That's why we have state hospitals, because we put people in those state hospitals because we're not bent up on revenge, to hurt them. We want to cure them and get them on with their life. But they don't do that in Minnesota. What they okay, now that we got these guys are done with their prison, we have to let them go. Let's pretend they're mentally ill. Let's pretend they're severely disordered. Let's say that. Let's get our army of trained or are RNA psychologists who aren't trained in diagnostics to say they have a disorder, and we can do whatever we want with them. That's what they do. And our lawyers are so bad. They have no idea how to process or what. And that's why right now I have a case that's pending in front of the Court of Appeals. I'm trying to fight for my right to represent myself. When I went into the cab, they found out what I was going to do with the questions that I was going to ask. And they found out, and they immediately said, no, you're not going to ask any questions. Here's an attorney. They gave me an attorney who wasn't trained. He admitted that he wasn't trained, and they gave him to me anyway. I was saying, this is the guy that's going to represent you. And I said, absolutely not. So now I'm in the Court of Appeals, and I'm fighting for the right to represent myself. An alleged person is supposed to be so insane that I can't control myself. But here's the thing, another thing. Here's how it's just full of lies upon lies upon lies. If I can't stop myself from raping women, then why are you putting me in a locked room with them? If I can't control myself.
Fair argument.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything's a lie. They don't just do one thing wrong, they do everything wrong. Everything is bent on it all stems. That is the proverbial snowball that gets.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So that's what I wanted to share with you, Mr. Berglan, and I hope that I'll leave that with let the people have that. And if you ever want to talk to me again, just let me know.
Hey, Mike, do you want to say hi or give a shout out to anyone?
I'd like to say hi to her, knows what's going on, and the rest of them, and the other people that know me and such, family members and such. So, but other than that, no, nothing else. I'll probably be getting a hold of a few of them.
Well, man,
Thanks a lot.
I'm rooting for you, bro. Rooting for you guys.
Okay.
See you, man.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you for using GTL.
I don't know if anyone else is calling. I should have asked. I like him too. I mean, these guys are locked up, civil commitment, shadow prison, supposedly the worst criminals, sex offenders on the planet. And I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I mean, I've gotten to know so many of their stories. And the craziest one out of the bunch that I've talked to, and I love him too, and I mean that respectfully, he's the craziest one because the damage that was done to him, he's innocent too, and he's got proof of it. God bless. One more call. Cool.
Hello, this is a free call from
GTL.
Mark.
Wait, my cool.
To accept this free call, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected.
Which
Thank you for using GTL.
which mic is this?
Mike Whipple.
How you doing, sir? Well, you're on the air. Feel free to talk, man. You can share anything that's on your heart. You can say hi to anyone you want. It like this is your opportunity to speak. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, really, I've been letting you all just say whatever you need to say, but if you don't mind sharing, like, tell me how you got thrown into MSOP.
Find out it was wow, right now. I'm sorry about that. So I ended up my hope if I come to this treatment, sign a sexually gay person, I'll have a house. Got here, no, there's no way out. No matter how much of this so-called treatment that you do, because I'm trying to get people to explain to me this diagnosis that you're giving me. It's paraphilic, not other specified, and a personality disorder, not other specified. And that's where after the DSM-5 yard, the mouth, don't have a guy. That's wrongfully. That's where a lot of us are like to get out. When we ask the person that gives the diagnosis or the other brothers, they say, well, that was what got you convicted. That was what got you committed. Well, how can that still be the same diagnosis after 15 years of being here, still be the same? You know?
Tell me, are you participating in the treatment program? Or have you, I don't blame you, by the way.
So, no, oh, yeah, that's still won't go nowhere. It's like, well, you keep doing the treatment, you'll go to St. Peter. Well, I don't want to go to St. Peter. I don't have a diagnosis. I don't have a mental illness. I don't even belong here. So that's where my head is at. Is like, no, you got to just let me go. You got to do something about it.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Let me ask you this. How are you keeping your spirits up? Because you don't sound like you want to put a bullet in your head like some of the people I've spoken to in the past. What's keeping your spirit so strong?
I think it's life to prove or to admit the wrong. Older people without a real actual diagnosis of the illness or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, just gotta let them go. But still, never been about it left in his phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, just share anything that you want to say, man. You get it out. Like this is your chance, your opportunity. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I don't blame him about wanting to get out of there. I have no idea who's calling or not. We'll wait a couple of minutes and hopefully, I mean, at this point, we'd sit here all day. I actually like this. And what I also like is I'm not repeating the same thing over and over and over again, because that's what you would expect. Or I would think that you would expect that. People would expect that. But no. The religious freedom, to me, I mean, of all the things, there's so many horrific things that happen there. I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, you can go look at the past episodes and even reading Preacher's Wife blog. She, I think she still wants to remain nameless, but read her writings. You can go to under articles at joshuatberglan.com and you can see her blogs. I publish her blogs for her so we can get the message out. It's just, I understand that everybody's innocent in prison. I know how that works. That's because that's what people say. And that's the joke. And that's the stereotype. This gentleman that was just on, said that he wants out. He doesn't belong there. There's a lot of people that don't belong there that were never actually charged with a crime, but they're locked away in a shadow prison and they have no hope of getting out, or at least on the surface, it looks like that. There's other people that served their time already. They got out of jail. They went on and lived their life. Daniel comes to mind. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to your mom. Also, Mary. But they served their time that they were charged to serve. And by the way, some of these crimes weren't like molesting children. It wasn't that. You can't not the people that are in the shadow prison are not, all of them are not child molesters. It's not how this problem works. So please erase that from your head. Now, were some people inappropriate? Yeah, they were. Like slapping a girl on the butt or something like that. They serve their time for that. And I'm not saying that that's right. So chill out. You serve 5, 6, 7, 8 years in prison for slapping a girl on the butt that's underage. You've served your time. You've learned your lesson. How many of you have done stupid stuff when you're drunk? I know that's not an excuse, but I asked you a question. How many of you did stupid things when you've been drunk? Okay, how many of you done stupid things on cocaine or meth or angel dust or anything else that you could have done? Peyote, I don't give a crap. How many of you done stupid stuff under the influence? Okay. Yeah, we all know. We all know that some people, when they get high on cocaine and meth, they go around and they do things they shouldn't do. Steal, I don't know, give up their body, whore themselves out. I don't know. I mean, that's what I did. Like people do awful things when they're under the influence. So you serve 8 years in prison for a mistake you make. And then to live your life on the outside for 2 years, doing nothing wrong. Have a family. You're paying your taxes. You're an upstanding citizen. And then you get thrown in a shadow prison because of some law change and this civil commitment rule. There's people that are being held that have not done a thing wrong. There are some people that have done things wrong, but they serve their time. The shadow prison crap, the civil commitment rule and law, there's 2 versions of it. They're both wrong. We're giving psychotherapists way too much power to decide and dictate what is right. Is this person mentally ill or not? They literally have the power to throw people in jail with no trial. That is a lot of power for a therapist to have. That is really, I mean, sometimes it depends on your training that you have that will help sway your opinion to be one way or the other. But also, everyone is for sale. It's a corrupt industry. The whole civil commitment scam is fraudulent. And there are people making a crap ton of money off of this, enslaving people. That's what they're doing. So if that doesn't get you upset, because I understand there's a lot of things to be upset about out in the world right now. But let me ask you this. How would you feel if your religious liberties were taken from you? Now, here's the thing. I don't believe that I want to make this clear. I don't believe I need statues or peyote or symbols or crosses or images of what people think Jesus looks like to worship. Like, I think personally, religious freedom is an oxymoron, because religion by nature is prison, in my opinion. However, that's me. That's me. That's what I believe. There's Christians that need their crosses. I don't get that. To me, that's idolatry. But if somebody uses sage and smudging, and they use smudging, and it's part of the prayer ritual and ceremony, which, by the way, that is very much a part of Native American spirituality. And they've been practicing it way longer than I've been alive, and way longer than Christianity existed, or Islam, or any of these other major religions. I mean, it's been around forever. And they've held to it. Like, this has remained important to Native Americans forever. So to go in, it's, you know, it's one thing to take their land. Oh, we're gonna give you the casinos. Like, that's gonna make up for what freaking happened. They're erasing Native. I mean, there's a lot of civilizations and a lot of different people that it's like they're trying to eliminate off the face of the planet. But Native Americans seem to get it harder than anybody. And look, and I understand African Americans, you got through a lot. And I don't even know how you can compare. I mean, as a white dude, I can't compare them. I don't know what's worse. But I know I would be pissed. I mean, I'm pissed off the more I learn about my own history that I've been lied to about. This truth mission that I'm on, I find out more and more crap every day that I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is why I had this force down my throat, as if I'm to believe that this is the gospel itself. No, it's screwed up. And I live, like, the area I live in, I'm like, we spend so much time on tribal land. My wife works for the tribe. We go to the gym at the tribe. We go to the tribe grocery store. Like, we're around the community all the time, and I love them. And it's like, I gotta tell you, I've hated living in Minnesota until I loved living downtown, but I had not met a community of people that I felt comfortable with at all until I moved out by tribal land. And I spent a lot of time here, and I get to see how important their beliefs are to them. I see how important people that are Muslim, like, how important their faith is to them. And I see the same with Christianity. And even though my beliefs are different, I have respect for all of them, because it takes courage to have faith. It takes courage to believe in something. I believe there's a better way, but that's my opinion. I mean, I have to be very, very careful about rituals. Like, I'm like that. I love the creating an altar of sorts. Like, I had my own way that I like to pray, that helps me feel connected to God. And I don't want that to be messed with. Fortunately, I don't need anything external to do that. Now, if I can find a couple things, because I like sage. I like the smell of it, but, you know, I do like that. I like the ritual of smudging my room in this area. I just do. I don't have any, like, belief that it does anything necessarily, but it helps me get into more of a meditative state. And I like that, because then I can have better prayers, or a better prayer life when I take the time to go through that scenario. It's like it helps switch something on my brain. If I didn't have that, I mean, I don't need it to pray. I don't need it to feel close to God, but I mean, well, it helps a little bit. Oh, we have another call.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from.
Oh, this is going to be another surprise. I have no idea who I'm talking to.
Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL. Hello.
Hello, who am I speaking to?
My name is Colton, and I'm with the Yogesh Demonic Spiritual Group.
Hello, nice to have you here, man.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. The floor is yours, man. Talk about you can say anything you want to say. You can say hello to anyone you want to say. I mean, literally, this opportunity is for you to speak freely.
Well, I'd like to say hello to my family first and foremost. Paula Olson, Colin Olson, Randy Olson, Lori Olson, Kira Olson, Seth Olson. I also like to say hello to Nicole Crum. Just, just say hi to all my friends and family back at home.
Right on. Where's home for you, man?
Home is down in Worthington, Minnesota.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. Well, what's on your heart, man?
I was told to talk about, how we've been stunted in here with our spiritual growth. And I guess for me, my family comes from the very Nathan. My lineage goes back to that. It's almost impossible for them to give me any materials on it. They haven't even made an attempt to give me materials on trying to learn my culture. So I adopted the Lakota ways because I had some elders in here that were kind of teaching me those ways, and they're still teaching me those ways. It's just kind of been rough lately because we haven't had a sweat in so long. It's been like a few years now, and for the Native Americans, the sweat lodges, their purification lodges, that's where we go to pour our hearts out. That's where we go to, grow as a person in general. And MSOP has kind of made it impossible for that. We've been treated like a secure threat group since I got here, and it's just, it's getting old, man. It's like, you're something that's actually growing in our spiritual path and following our ways of life. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. We're the only group in here that's considered a security threat group, subject to pat outs and all that other stuff. It's just, it's kind of demoralizing. You know what I mean? It's disheartening.
Well, so I want to ask you something that, or actually bring this point up. It doesn't make sense to me that, like in the AA, for instance, like when people go to one of those programs and they surrender to something that is more powerful than them. They don't have to name God, but they surrender to a higher power. And that's like the staple of that. And that's a big part of therapy and rehabilitation is surrender and believing in a higher power. That's like conditioned in us. So for them to have the nerve to interfere with your spiritual practice, which if they were really a treatment program, they should be encouraging. However, they're not. To me, that is another example proving that they are not a rehabilitation program. It's another slavery program.
That's exactly what it is. It's basically a warehouse where we're meant to die, and that's about it.
Can you say why? Like, what is the? I know that there's a lot of money to be made for some of the people that are at the top of this, but what is there another reason why they want to enslave you all and just let you die in a warehouse?
It's all about health. I want people that lets out a bunch of guys who have sex offenses or who committed sex offenses in their past, try to atone and make up for their own mistakes, move past that part of their life. And basically what it is they look at us all the same, put us underneath an umbrella that we're just going to go out and do everything again. And to be honest with you, about 70% of a thing. I mean, we've gone through multiple programs. We've done so much, and we've grown so much in our life, in our past, that's the last thing on our mind.
Well, but some of you all have already served your time and then were like on the streets, living your life with your families and so forth, and you got swept up in a raid when you were innocent and thrown in there. Like, so how in the hell does that happen? Like, what is the reason? Because at that point you've proven that you're no longer a threat. So how in the world can they possibly say this is right? Like, how could they even justify this to anyone?
I don't think I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people where I made a mistake when I was out, and I ended up going back into drinking and bars and all that. That was my fault. But the fact of the matter is, I've done so much time since then, and I've grown so much since then. And for them to look the same way they did back then, I mean, come on, that stuff was years ago. Like, I've shown you guys on multiple occasions that I'm not the same person. And down and remind me of who I was. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
It's like I said, it's demoralizing. We're treated as less people, and it's rough. It gets to a point where it's too much for a lot of people. There's been a number of tests, more tests. So that's gonna come.
Yeah, that's awful. Can you are you doing any of the treatments, or have you decided not to do that? The current treatments there.
So I'm doing a very different style of their treatment program, and I've kind of designed my whole plan on surrounding my culture and things like that. To me, that's how I'm growing as a person spiritually.
Man, I honor you for that. Do you care to share like what has been something that would surprise most people that you've learned in the treatment program?
One thing I've learned in this treatment program is that from um, I was living a very reckless life, and it wasn't this place that made me realize that, but it is this place that has made me realize that I will do anything I possibly can to never be that person again. And I think that's the thing that's most surprising to me is the fact that this is such a serious and horrible fear tactic that it just shakes your whole foundation, and it totally just rips you apart. And and I'm glad that in a sense that I did learn that here, because I'm telling you right now, this is something in here that there's nothing. Their program itself is designed for people who have never had treatment in a day in their life that don't understand it. It's designed for people with lesser intelligence. It's designed for people who basically want to go into a continuous loop of treatment and no result. And that to me has been the most disgusting thing I've learned about this place. Is you want to hold everybody in this continuum, and realistically, you can ask any type of surveyor, any type of psychologist, anybody out there, 3 to 5 years of treatment, anything more than that becomes detrimental.
Becomes indoctrination at some point, right?
Exactly. They brainwash. They brainwash. They don't want people.
Do they use abusive language towards you all? I know that probably sounds like a weird question, but do they? I mean, do they tell you that you're always going to be pieces of shit and you're always going to be whatever the negative words people could say about you? I mean, do they do that kind of to you as part of their brainwashing and conditioning?
I never experienced it, but then again, I rarely do them unless I have to.
Yeah.
That I observe that where it isn't the treatment. You got security staff that'll say that type of stuff to them, and there's been other security staff members, and there's also been guys at the tops who have basically made it very clear that we're nothing but a paycheck to them.
Now, is it true that some of the staff hooks up with some of the residents there?
It is on more than one occasion.
Yeah, I actually have in the Texas facility, I have a bunch of emails from one of the employees sharing about that, how that's very common.
Yep.
What does that do? Is that in itself kind of a psyop, like mind f, to have you're in there as sexual prisoners or whatever, and then people are sleeping with the staff while they're also, I mean, like they're technically your authority there, and yet here they are hooking up with you, but you're supposed to be these dangerous sex offenders.
Yeah, I personally I don't understand what their thought process was behind it. I will say this: I've a lot of staff members in here that have been intentionally, they won't ever admit it, obviously, but intentionally they've been looked at, or they hire these honeypots, these staff that fit into, like that look like they're teenage girls, which fits into a lot of people's offending cycles in here. And, they're always constantly wanting attention and all this other stuff. It's just bound to happen at some point in time where it's gonna happen, where they're gonna hook up.
Well, because the perp switch is real. I mean, you show a guy, especially a straight guy, of course, bisexual guys would be the same way. Let them stare at boobs or an ass, or if that's what they're into, long enough, eventually it's gonna like make them go crazy.
It definitely will, and there's a lot of that here as well.
Jeez, that feels like entrapment. That's abusive. It's an entrapment. It's And I understand how easy it is to say, well, you should be a grown-up and control yourself. But I also know I know the humans pretty well, and everyone is tempted by lust of some kind. And when you're shoving what people like in their face, eventually they're going to want to take a bite of the apple, so to speak. It's just that doesn't feel fair. And I know life isn't fair, but that just seems like psychological warfare to me.
You are 100% correct on that.
Good
That is
God.
all psychological warfare. I mean, the lawsuits that's on in this place right now because of their treatment, their supposed treatment, and the due process violations that they have here is absolutely astounding. And the way that they treat, like, the way that they bring these staff in here, just specifically it's absolutely asinine.
What would you say for you helps you keep hope alive? Because you seem to have a fighting spirit about you still. You seem to have your wits with you, and you're not letting this place beat you down into where you want to give up now. What is helping you maintain hope?
Family. People I care about the most, the people that have been there for me, and the people that will always be there. That's what my main focus is on.
I love to hear that.
And even that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
That at times is hard to accomplish in here because there's so many roadblocks that they try to put up to prevent it.
Yeah, I can tell you on my end, and I don't know. I know that there's, or you guys have the organizations, some of them that have been born out of MSOP, and then there's other organizations around the country. But I've been a part of some of those meetings, and I can tell you, and I publish one person's blog out of Texas, whose husband's locked up, and I can tell you that more and more every day, people are starting to pay attention to what's happening there. The families are fighting. The families are using their voices. So I love the fact that you haven't given up hope, but I want to tell you, I want to make this very clear that there's people on the outside that are helping fight for you all too, because they know what's happening is wrong. And mind you, it's not the masses and it's not the majority or anything like that. But there's enough people, I believe, that have hope and believe in this. There's momentum that is working in y'all's favor. And not to give you a bunch of hopium or anything, but I do believe that good things are about to come for you all.
Well, we definitely need it. I appreciate the fact that there's so many people out there fighting for us. All I can say is feel on me up from the bottom of my heart. I thank all of you guys who fight for us.
That's awesome. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No, that'd be it. I'd like to thank you for giving me the time on this podcast. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, man. I'm glad that you called.
All right. Thank you. I will make sure the next one gets a hold of you as soon as possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You have 1 minute remaining.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I can't imagine trying to do even what I do without my family. I wish I would have appreciated family when I was younger the way I do now, because I'd probably be able to enjoy more of my family. But I'm grateful for what I have now. And for the record, for those of you who are wondering why in the hell I would, be entertaining a bunch of quote unquote sex offenders on my broadcast, it's because I mean, when I first learned about this a little over a year ago, I wasn't excited about it, but wanted to learn. And it was uncomfortable for me because I've been molested by men and women, and I've got my own dark past. I wasn't a kid toucher. I didn't do anything like that, but my deviancy, I mean, I'm not in I don't want to compare, but I can't say that the things that I did were any better. I mean, I allowed people to defile me willingly over and over and over and over and over again when I was high on drugs. And like the more drugs I had, the more I was willing to defile myself. My behavior was disgusting. My behavior was gross. And I did enough drugs that it made me believe I was having fun. So much so that even getting HIV didn't keep me from feeling this way or doing the things that I was doing. It didn't make me go, oh, what you're doing is gross. No, not at all. It just made me want to push the pedal to the metal so I could die faster. How God changed my life, I still don't know. I mean, I'd done the work, I do the work. I was committed to the work and I am committed to the work. But I mean, it's just amazing to think about how far gone I was, how awful I was. And to think that I've been given another chance and I've had the opportunity for the last 7 years to work to rehabilitate my life. I feel honored. And that's why I've been given an opportunity. And I believe that these guys deserve an opportunity also. I mean, I'm sure there's some that belong locked up in a place like that. But you know what? I haven't met one yet. Every story I've heard today and all the other broadcasts that I've done, I don't know if anyone else is calling. Made it sound like somebody could. I'm going to push pause for a second so I'm not just sitting here letting dead air float in the atmosphere. I'll be right back. All right, looks like we have another call.
Hello, this is a prepaid debit call from. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello?
Hello, who am I talking to?
You're speaking with Guy Green.
Hi, Guy Green. How are you?
Oh, I will. Perfect.
It is, and you are on the air, sir. Well, I'm glad to have you here, and the floor is yours. You can share anything on your heart. You can say hello to anyone you want. The floor is yours. If I feel led to ask a question, I will, but this is your opportunity to speak.
Miigwech. Rodawa skugija condition cause miigwech nagum. Gigapak is Kanana Asima. My name is Blue Sky. I'm Ojibwe. I'm from the Whitehorse Band of Ojibwe. And I've been civilly committed at the MSOP program now for over 17 years. And I've been really struggling and suffering a tragic miscarriage of justice here with my people. There's a group of at least 50 indigenous people here from the indigenous community that are also suffering, kind of like the boarding school stuff, where we can't really speak our language, we can't pray what we want. They don't incorporate our treatment, our culture into our treatment, things like that. So it's a really difficult balance to learn such a beautiful culture, to learn to practice empathy and love others, and through my sweat lodge teachings, through the drum and the pipe ceremonies, and to be in a situation where they're supposed to offer treatment within 2 or 3 years is really a black eye to the medical community, to what America stands for. You know, we're the teachers of human rights. You know, we look out for other countries, and here we are in our own backyard and clean up the stuff that's going on back here. It's really sad and tragic that human life has just been thrown away to the wayside in a warehouse operation for basically just a bunch of social misfits that the politicians have created. And, you know, we're basically just political prisoners here, waiting for some kind of adjudication in court, for someone to follow the Constitution, for someone to protect our rights. And, you know, it's sad. And my teachings tell me that, you know, love is the answer. And I come from a rich culture. I'm Ojibwe, you know, I'm from the whiter band of Ojibwe. And I've been practicing these ways for 30 years. And I'm just now coming to the realization that I'm just a spiritual baby in all this stuff. I'm just learning about this stuff. And that I don't have control over nothing. And that the spirits, they control everything. This is the Creator's will, what's happening here. And it's a message to America. It's a message to society, what can happen when there's no checks or balances in our government. So that's the message I have today. And that, you know, we look for support in any way. I don't know if we can write the Department of Justice. We don't even know how to use the internet. I've been here so long, I don't know how to do an email and none of that stuff. But we got to use snail mail. Write the president, or write the Department of Justice, the governor, my tribe. Nobody, all this stuff falls on deaf ears. It is so politically driven with anger that somewhere along the line, love is going to have to find its place here, because love is the answer and love is the key. So thank you for allowing me to speak, and hopefully a message gets out there to society, and you know, they'll watch over us.
Hey, I want you to know that I am most grateful. I've enjoyed everyone that has called today. I am most grateful for your message, because your message aligns most with mine. And I respect others' messages, absolutely, but I want you to know the energy in which you're speaking with and the place that you're coming with, to me, I believe that's the force that's going to bring healing. It's going to bring truth, and it's going to bring justice. So please stay the course of where you're at, my man. Please stay the course. Blessings, bro.
All right, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using GTF.
He's the only one that I've heard talk about this. I admire that. I would imagine that that's a tough message to deliver. He's like the he's like the Paul of Native American spirituality. Well, that's probably not the right. I mean, it's probably not the right example. But I mean, I was being tortured. They're being tortured, and here he is still preaching the message of love. And it feels good to hear that. It feels good to hear someone talk about love and they're locked in a place with no love. I just, so much respect for that. So much respect for that. I've actually enjoyed every one of these people that have called. These people, the gentlemen that have called today. I've enjoyed every one. See if there's another call. Be right back. All right, looks like we have another call.
free call from
Joseph Goodwin.
a client at the Moose Lake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using PTL.
Hi, Joseph.
Yeah, this is Joseph Goodwin.
Hi, sir. You are live on the air and grateful to have you here.
Oh, what was the word here?
I don't have any objective other than giving you guys a platform to speak and share whatever's on your heart. You can say hi to anyone you want to say hi to. Really, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. My name is Ari. What would I say? Oh, I've been here since 05, 18 years.
Wow.
Suffered a lot. Go to the funeral and all that. I'm a native in that. We have traditional funerals and combinations could be made because they have to be at a funeral home or they have to be at hospital to see him on a deathbed. I had a couple of times, one time to see my mother at alcohol. I don't know how. Uh, just the whole thing. Like, uh, what, what all
Okay. Is there anyone that you want to say hello to or anything like that? Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. Is there any more people calling?
that more people.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought about it. There's other people calling, but I'll be calling.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for using GTL.
There's more people calling.
This is a free call from a client at the Moose Lake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using PTL.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Tony. Welcome. I'm doing great. Yeah, you are on the air, so I'm grateful to have you here. And you are welcome to say hello to anyone you want to say to. I mean, honestly, this is an opportunity for you to share what's on your heart and say anything you feel led to say. No censorship or anything. Speak freely.
A little bit about the ghetto prison here at MSOP. I've been locked up now for almost 30 years. In that 30 years time, I have seen 97. lots of good friends. Like a brother. Really, my heart. So mine was no before they got a phone call that one of their loved ones died. That's why
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for using GTL.
That was quicker than I thought. We'll see if anyone else calls.
Client is a Moose Lake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press call for subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
hello.
Hey, Russell, how are you? Good. The floor is yours, man. We are live, or not live, but we are on the air, and really you can share anything on your heart and say hi to whoever you want. The floor is yours.
Yeah, appreciate it. Say hi to Stephanie, Yana, Paradise, Kristen, Davion, and Amir, and the rest of Nelson and Hatton family. I love you guys, and I miss you. And Dad's working on getting out of this place and getting home and back to you guys. Dad's been really working on trying to get an understanding of what it takes to get out of this place. I've been studying law and reading professional journals and law review journals and all types of stuff. One of the biggest things that I've come to realize, and I had put together a document of the questions that you had asked me last time. I don't have that paper with me right now, but had to do with you asked what are the two biggest things that the public needs to know that are going on within this facility and the 20 other states that practice preventive detention. And I got back and I started looking at some of the research that I've done, and what I've identified is that they're locking people up in this quote unquote hospital, claiming that we have these severe mental illnesses. And with these mental illnesses, they use what's called the actuarial tools to determine a person's risk level. And within this risk level, there's criteria. They call them historical and static risk factors. And then there's dynamic risk factors. So to clarify, for the historical and the static, those are unchangeable factors. That could be like age, the year of a person's crime, age of victims, things like that. With the changeable dynamic risk factor, there's certain criteria for that stuff too. But the changeable dynamic risk factors are what the program is supposed to be measuring, so that a person is actually reducing their risk for recidivism, to show that they can be released to the community, so that they're safe and that they'll be safe in the community. But what I discovered, going back and looking at my records, multiple records of my peers, as far as like when they're physically committed, and what I found was that the program is only scoring for the last close to 29 years of program. Omitted the changeable respect. So when we go in front of when we petition for a less restrictive setting or a reduction in custody, to either preparation program in the state computer campus, where we're supposed to work on reintegration and our discharge process. Wow. But they omit these changeable factors, they're saying that well, you still pose a risk to society because you got to work on managing this vector, this vector, this vector. So the dynamic risk factors can be things like impulsivity, um, failure to cooperate, rules of supervision, negative emotionality, and what they're using in the program, specifically in MSOP, is they're using like minor rule infractions. So say a guy goes to Shaw Hall and he brings a ketchup packet back to the unit and uses it on some food he bought out of the vending or security calls someone outside the unit or in the hall, giving someone a hug, and they don't know what that hug is about, but they try to write it in their report to insinuate that it has some sexual connotation, when really that peer could be given another peer a hug because they had a death in the family or they're going through something difficult, but they'll write them up in a way that is associated with the respect. And it gets super detailed with these things, but I've written documents, I've gotten them sent out. I just recently sent them all last month to professors around the country, and just today I got a response from the National Institute for the Study Prevention and Treatment of Sexual Trauma, and the response is from Fred S. Berglan. He's an associate professor with the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine founder, the Johns Hopkins Sexual Disorders Clinic director, and the National Institute for the Study of Prevention and Treatment of Sexual Trauma. And in his letter, he's asked me to set up a time to call and speak with him about this document that is sent out, saying that you tell these programs are keeping people locked up. They're scoring us on these historical static factors that are unchangeable, and they're omitted the changeable dynamic risk factors. So, we think of a medical way to terminate this. People who are diagnosed with cancer go on for treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they get that chemo treatment and they rehabilitate, and the doctor checks them again and says, "All right, your cancer's in remission. We're going to stop the chemo treatment." Same concept could apply here. When a person no longer told the science of that disorder, it causes clinically significant impairment in social, occupational, or other areas of life, they should be discharged. Saying, well, even though you're not showing signs symptoms of the West disorder, we're going to, regardless if there's any illness there or not. Right? Not that. If I had a way I could send you this document, you could really find, because I took like the last couple of weeks and I broke it down in a step-by-step process, and I got 8 steps laid out of how they're getting away with keeping people locked up here. And it starts at the initial commitment all the way to any time that someone petitions for transfer to CPS or provisional discharge or a full discharge.
Wow. Is there somebody that I would love to see that? There's got to be a way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to have it, if possible.
Yeah, I could send it out to there.
Yeah. Do you know? Daniel has my address.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he has all my information, and I would love to get that, and I will definitely do something with it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, man. One of the biggest things that I recognize is like reaching out to people and educating people. And one of the things I've experienced in this program is they hate it when we educate the public. They hate it when we educate our peers on the real causes for why they're keeping us locked up. The guy's been in this program so long and got to the point that they're indoctrinated by it, that people something what's really not.
Oh, that's the worst, man. It's kind of reminds me of for not to be disrespectful at all, but how religion sometimes keeps people sick and keeps them living in shame and fear and under judgment, and and it's just like it keeps people stuck, and it's just conditioned that like you're always going to be a no good sinner or whatever else. Like when I hear you talk, that's what it sounds like to me. And that's part of the problem that we have is we just beat people down and make them believe things that are just not true about themselves. And I hate that. And especially because you're stuck there and you got to deal with it all day long. I can't even imagine. How are you keeping your spirits up? Is it by fighting the way that you're the fighting in the only way that you can, or how is it?
So, like, there was a while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, I was talking with my oldest daughter about this, and I was telling her that I don't know how I'm able to like keep going. I mean, I've had a lot of traumatic conditions. I've lost my wife of 17 years. My mother passed a year later. The program denied me to attend both their funerals. And when I was talking with her about it, I was talking about the one-on-one work that I do with guys on their treatment work and stuff, and some of their legal stuff. And she's like, Dad, it sounds like you've taken a father role that you'd be sharing with us, or the responsibility to be sharing with her and her sibling, and I've applied it here. And the way she explained it was like, it was crucial, man. It just made me cry.
Oh God. Man, I have today, probably of all the days, I think that I've gained even more respect for you all. I've gotten to hear multiple different stories and different points of view, and I just admire you all for standing up and doing everything that you can, and to keep hope alive, to look after each other, and I have a lot of admiration for you all. And I know you know this, but there's people on the outside that are fighting, and it's not the majority or anything like that. But there's a lot of very passionate people that care about you all and know what's happening isn't right. And I believe that good things are coming for you all.
And it's like, it's things like that, when I hear that, it really motivates me. Because, like, even as, like, I don't know, it's hard to put in words, but there's certain days where I can be like at a really low point, and it's trying to figure out how to open just that little bit of sliver of light up at the end. I don't know, or whatever they're not. But when I
Yeah.
hear things like that, it like motivates me, because it shows that all the work that I'm doing and all the support that we receive from one another here is about here, that what we're doing is good. And when I first came into this program, my whole concept was on prevention. I made some bad choices in my life. What can I do to be a part of that? So I want to have much on about or who have prevention programs. And I think based on all the research that I've done on the actual recidivism percentage of people who commit crimes of a sexual nature is so low that it could be better served in a community with, say, the 100 billion that goes with this program. If that 100 billion was put into support in the community, whether it's victim and survivor services, preventive program, other health grants, would have so much of a better impact than actually the mental balance. And it's just talking people up.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys should definitely have, I mean, with all that money that's being spent on keeping you all there, I would think that some of it could be used for actual proven treatments that work, not the psychological warfare that's happening there that's keeping people or breaking people down, stealing their spirit and taking their soul from them. There's just got to be a better way. I personally think that facility needs to be destroyed, not with you all in it, but I think it needs to be destroyed and wiped off the face of the planet, because it's clear that it's not doing what it says it's supposed to do.
I studied psychology. I've got a certificate in work. I've got a certificate in chemical
Mm-hmm.
problem supervised and how to build them. And what I understand about the brain is like how it's ridiculous. The way the system is set up. The way I understand it is that people who commit a crime, especially crime of sexual nature, the charge whatever their requirement, intensive supervision or intensive treatment. The same as someone sent to a Department of Corrections. They should have a system set up where they go to intensive treatment. But it makes no sense to take someone, charge them with a victim, and send them to prison, and then after they finish their prison sentence and treatment, to send them again to a hospital or a hypothetical hospital.
Mhm.
You have 1 minute remaining.
I think, are you able to like reach out to other people?
Well, I'm scheduled with tomorrow. I've more of you all coming on tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know what time, but yeah, I will be talking to more people tomorrow. I don't know how many are scheduled. I don't even know how many I was supposed to talk to today. No one gave me information. I've just been sitting here and my phone's ringing. So
Call one more time, and then I think he's like the last one calling.
okay.
Or I think Mike Benson.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah,
hey, it's my pleasure. I'm rooting for all of you, and we're doing all that we. I like I said, there's people fighting for you on the outside, and you know I'm going to help anyway and continue to help any way I am able. All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
No.
All right, one more. I don't know how well you all heard him. He didn't come through as clear. I'll try to enhance this in the audio. Oh, my heart hurts for them. Just hurts. All right, last call for the day.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Yeah, Jeremiah Johnson here.
What's up, man?
Well, just close down. Let you know that I want to thank you and let you know that I appreciate everything that you've done today, and getting the Native American community together like trying to hurt cats. We all live on different units, and so we can't communicate immediately like as much as we would like. But I'm glad everything went off without a hit today, and I'd like to give a couple shout outs to some people who are important in our movement. And I'd like to give a shout out to Sarah Brown. Sarah, thank you for everything you do for us. Let the world know that you're an important part in closing MSOP. Beautiful, stay strong. And I would like to give a shout out to a woman named Sarah Weston from South Dakota. She's a Native American journalist. Sarah Weston, I appreciate you come forward with knowledge.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you all tomorrow, and I really am grateful to have gotten to hear from the Native American community and how important you know their rights are to them, their spiritual practice. That perspective was really refreshing to hear. A message of love and hope was delivered today. I'm indebted to I'm indebted to all of you all, and I'm really grateful for the messages you guys delivered today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Josh, and all the listeners. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. I'm a member of Boysport Band of Chippewa from Boysport, Minnesota. I'm from the Vermilion side. My mother's Kathy Johnson. My father's Robert Johnson. And thank you all very much.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using GTL.
Well, that wraps up this version of Live from MSOP. We'll be doing it again tomorrow. Thank you for being here. God bless you all. Bye-bye.